This video is going to show you how to route the backup camera from the rear of your sedan all the way through the cabin of the vehicle to the Sylvania Roadsight Mirror. We like to start at the back of the vehicle where the actual camera is going to be installed. There's almost always going to be a ledge that houses the lights that illuminate the license plate, and this makes a great place to actually mount the rear view camera. Now that you know where the camera is going to be installed, go ahead and open the trunk. Take a look about where the wire is going to come through, but then also look on both sides of the trunk to see where the existing wiring for the vehicle is routed. In this particular car, it comes down right along the driver's side, so we know that that's roughly where we are going to want to take the wire for the backup camera. Go ahead and start removing the fasteners that hold on the lining to your trunk lid. Your vehicle may not look exactly like this car that we're showing you, but in almost every car that we've filmed, the lining on the trunk lid is either a soft felt, like this one is, or it's a hard plastic. More often than not, it's a soft felt, and that's almost always going to be held on by plastic rivets. So go ahead and remove all the plastic rivets and then take the lining off so you can see what's behind it. That's the biggest takeaway here, is that you really want to just find the original channel that the wire for the lights illuminating the license plate are running on the vehicle, and that should give you a very good pathway to run the wire for your reverse camera in this vehicle. Reacquaint yourself on where you want the camera to be positioned on the exterior of the vehicle. You're looking to determine if this is a removable trim piece or not. In this car, the trim is removable and held on by a series of bolts behind the trim. Go ahead and remove these nuts that are holding this trim piece on. In this vehicle, it looks like there's 5 nuts holding the trim piece on. Pry off the trim piece. Be careful when you're prying any kind of plastic trim off. You want to just gently work your way around the perimeter of the trim piece, and eventually it should give and you can go ahead and pull it off. Here you see a perfect hole that we can use to route the wire for the backup camera into the rear of the trunk lid. What we'd like to do is just one last time double check the intended placement of the camera, and then go ahead and stick the wire into the hole, and then you can actually put the trim piece right back on. Now that we have the wire for the backup camera poking through the trunk lid, go ahead and plug in the wire that will run the length of the vehicle into the backup camera. The lights that illuminate the license plates will have power running to them. So the best way to route the wire for your backup camera is to zip tie it along to the existing wires that are running to the lights illuminating their license plate. This will allow you to essentially utilize any kind of channel or carve out that's already part of the car from the factory for running these wires, and it will also help you avoid any potential situation where the wire for the backup camera is getting pinched by the mechanism opening or closing the trunk. Now you will continue finding your pathway into the interior of the vehicle. So in this case, since we're running along the wire for the lights that illuminate the license plate, we're going to continue to run the backup camera wire alongside this wire for the lights for the license plate. So what we did is we pulled back the lining that's in the trunk, removed whatever fasteners are securing that to the side of the vehicle, and then go ahead and run your backup camera wire alongside the wire here. As you can see, there's a hole here in the rear bulkhead of the vehicle, and what we're going to do is go and run a fish wire through that existing hole, so we don't need to drill a hole in the car or anything like that. Run the fish wire through that hole, and then we're going to tape up the wire for the reverse camera and then pull it through with our fish. Now that the reverse camera wire is all taped up, go ahead and pull your fish through, and voila! Now you have bridged the gap, so to speak, between the interior of your vehicle and the trunk. The interior portion of the door seal offers a perfect channel to tuck the wire for the reverse camera. So go ahead and run your finger, tuck this wire until you get to the B pillar of the car. Once you get to the B pillar, go ahead and actually pull down the door seal, both for the rear part and the front part. And this will give you the ability to pop off the trim piece just enough that you can run your fish through there. Go ahead and run your fish through that B pillar panel. Make sure you are above any mechanism for the seatbelt. That'll be somewhat dependent on the vehicle that you're working on, but make sure you're above that. So pull your fish all the way through. Now that you have the wire through the B panel, continue to run the wire along that little gap on the inside portion of the door seal until you get to the top of the A pillar. Once you get to the top of the A pillar, and this will be somewhat vehicle specific, but in this vehicle we were able to actually simply tuck the reverse camera wire into the top of the A pillar and bring it around to the top portion of the windshield. In almost every vehicle, there is a gap between the headliner and the top portion of the windshield, which is an excellent place to tuck this wire in. If you have any excess wire, go ahead and tuck the excess wire in at this point as well. Now it's time to test your camera. So go ahead and plug in the power and your camera into the Roadsight Mirror and see if it works. All right, we have power and our camera is working too. Here we are pulling off the adhesive for the foam double-sided tape that's included with the camera, and we're going to place this on the camera itself. Now go ahead and secure the camera to the back of your vehicle now that you know it works. At this point, we're going to work backwards to put everything back together. We're going to start with our trunk liner. We're going to fold that back in place, line up any holes, and secure it with any fasteners that we took off. So the key takeaways in putting a reverse camera on your vehicle are to first of all start with where you want the camera to be on the exterior of the vehicle, and then you need to follow into the inside of the trunk, find out where the wires that are going to go from the inside of the vehicle are going to go up through the trunk, and how they're going to go from the inside of the trunk to the actual lights that illuminate the license plate. This offers the best opportunity for you to essentially hitchhike onto any existing channels or modifications that have been made to the vehicle at the factory to allow for a good transition from one part of the vehicle to the other of these wires that light up the lights that illuminate the license plate. When it comes to getting access to areas of the car that you want to be in but are covered up, don't be afraid to really kind of pull and tug, find out where the panel is secured to the vehicle. Remember, these cars are not magical things. They are fastened on one way or another. A lot of times you can't actually see the fastener and you may need to pry up a panel to get access to it. But as long as you're wearing your Sherlock Holmes hat, so to speak, you should be able to figure out exactly how the panel is attached and more importantly, how to take the panel off and put the panel back on.